Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bright Ideas podcast. As always, I am your host, Trent Deersmid, and I'm here to help you discover what is working in the world of e-commerce and online business in general by shining a light on the tools, the tactics, and the strategies in use by today's most successful entrepreneurs. And I'm going to do exactly that in this episode with my guest, Ravi, who is becoming a quick, good buddy of mine. But first, we've got a sponsor message today. So today's episode is brought to you by Cloudways. Is your website slow? Has your online business outgrown your current hosting provider? If it's a yes to either of these questions, it's time to move over to Cloudways, a managed cloud hosting provider that is built for online businesses. From a hassle-free launch to smooth server operations, Cloudways is your partner in scaling your e-commerce business to greater success. Go to cloudways.com and use the promo code BRIGHTIdeas to sign up, and that's all one word, Bright Ideas, no spaces, to sign up for a new Cloudways account, and you'll get a free $25 hosting credit. All right, Ravi, we've paid the bills now. Time to introduce you. Welcome to the show, buddy.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me here.
So Ravi and I became acquainted pretty recently, and I flew down to San Diego to see who this guy was and do a day of masterminding because we both figured out that we were ultra systems nerds. We like to SOP the hell out of everything, delegate everything, and try and make it so that we can be successful while kicking back and not having to be a slave to our businesses. And over the last week or so, I've got a chance to spend quite a bit of time with him. I was down at his mastermind in San Diego, and it was a pretty fantastic event. So Ravi, it's really a pleasure to have you on the show. Let's start it off in your own words. Who are you and what do you do?
Thank you for having me, Trent. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how life works like that, right? Now you and I talk all the time, and now we either try to stay focused on the task at hand because we start masterminding all the time. But yeah, thank you for having me on here. Everyone that's listening, thank you guys for your time. I promise you right now, this will be one of the most valuable podcasts you listen to, and that's a money back guarantee. Just kidding. I'm not going to give you money, but still, I think it's really valuable for you.
Well, you better hope I ask you good questions.
Yeah, I know, right? What's going on, everyone? My name is Ravi Abuvala. Law school dropout. Now I run multiple seven-figure companies. One of my companies is on a run rate to do 8 figures next year. Pretty exciting on that. My two main companies, I run an online advertising agency. We run paid traffic for real estate agents in North America. We have about 183 different clients right now. We bring them qualified buyers and seller leads. And then I also run essentially what's becoming and developing into like a biz dev or business accelerator company where we work with entrepreneurs that are trying to scale to the 6-figure a month, aka 7-figure mark in their business, and they're kind of stuck and plateauing out. So we use systems, processes, and actually fully trained virtual assistants that we train for our clients in the Philippines in order to help them achieve that goal.
All right. So for my Amazon sellers in the audience who are using the wholesale model, you want to pay attention to the details of this interview because that is pretty much like running a marketing agency. We're pretty much in the B2b business space. Our job is to reach out to brands, lots of them, send them a compelling message to get them to book a call with us so that we can talk about forming a relationship and ultimately selling their goods. So take good notes because we're going to dive into that. Under the auspices of how Ravi made his agency a success. So when did you start your agency?
You know, someone asked me that the other day, and I was trying to do the math. So I created my LLC in February of 2018, but I didn't get my first client until March, and then I didn't make more than $1,000 a month until August of 2018. So I usually tell people that I started my business in August because I really was losing between refunds and chargebacks because I was doing it so wrong in the beginning. I was really losing money the first 6 months of my business. But it wasn't until I kind of cracked the code on systems and processes and just consistent lead generation. Some of the stuff I'm sure we'll cover today, and some of the stuff we're going to be working together with you, Trent, on. I think that once I figured out the importance of that and then how to have somebody else do it every single day so that when I didn't want to show up to work, it was still getting done. That was when we started hitting the, 4-figure months, 5-figure months, and now 6-figure months for our company.
Wait a minute. Did you mean to say you started to use the slight edge?
The slight edge, yeah. Trent has that over there right now. I do it all the time. And I was talking to my COO, Raj, last night. I was like, I've reached out to Jeff Olson multiple times, but yeah, the slight edge, the concept that essentially small daily things. It's actually the gentleman whose mentee was the gentleman who wrote The Compound Effect, which people don't realize that he came from Jeff Olson. But the idea is like small daily things that are easy to do, but also easy not to do over time will compound. And that was the exact same thing for us until the point, just like Trent was saying a second ago about sponsors, is like you build it and just slowly over time you keep on building and building it up. And then eventually it's like you're not doing outreach anymore. People are knocking down your door to come to you.
Yep. That's exactly what's happened with sponsors for the podcast. And when we were doing all that outreach, it never worked.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it never worked in your head. It never worked. It was never a direct ROI, but there's no way you can't maybe someone saw it, they didn't reach out to you, and then all of a sudden they're going through Apple or.
Well, I know why it didn't work, and it's the same reason that you're about to tell me when I ask you this question, what were you doing wrong in those first 6 months of your agency? I know why our podcast outreach didn't work. Same reason your agency wasn't being very successful, and that reason was?
Well, number one, I wasn't doing enough outreach. That was
There's the one.
I was doing it was sporadic. It was when I felt like it, and it wasn't consistent. And also there was no data behind it. So I was like, oh, should I try this messaging today, this messaging tomorrow, whatever it is. It wasn't, I could never tell which one was working, which wasn't working, just purely through data. And it's a combination of data and then just shoving enough people into a funnel that eventually they're going to come out the other side. So where you can provide them value. So for us, I had no positioning, I had no authority, right? So for me, it was just like how many people. Billy Jean says all the time. He says your amount of money you're making every single month is directly correlated with how many offers you make on a daily basis. For people to work with you. And so when I started learning of that and I combined it with a slight edge, I was like, we need to be making this. And so now we do. In our advertising agency, not including ad spend, we do 5,000 to 8,000 pieces of outreach a day to real estate agents in North America, now in UK and Australia, where we're trying to get them to work with us. So it's like, I was doing maybe 5 to 8 a week before, and then now I'm doing 5,000 to 8,000 outreach a day.
Okay, so there are going to be some people who are listening to this conversation right now, and their head just exploded because they're thinking 5,000 to 8,000 emails a day. So we're going to spend the rest of the time in this conversation unpacking that, because I want to make sure that we make good on the whole promise of actionable golden nuggets. So how the hell do you send 5,000 to 8,000 emails a day to people who are reasonably qualified to be your customer?
So when we talk about, it's not just emails, right? It's 5,000 to 8,000 pieces of outreach a day. So first of all, when we talk about messaging and outreach, we usually break it down into 4 things. And the first one is going to be the lead source. So where are you finding these people that you're messaging to? If we're talking about email, you have 2 options, which is like auto scrapers, which is you can just type in, let's say there's a software called D7 Lead Finder, and we work with real estate agents. So we could type in real estate agent in D7 Lead Finder and find tens of thousands of real estate agents' emails, and I could just start sending to that. But the issue with that is I'm going to hyper unqualified people. It's like in the US, it's like 60-something% of real estate agents make less than $40,000 a year. And our product is not cheap, right? Because we offer a lot. So instead of doing that, we look for a quality lead source. So for us, we'd go to like Zillow.com or Realtor.com or any of these websites where we can find real estate agents that are paying those companies. And in my opinion, our product and service is better than those companies. If you work for them or if you're the CEO, I'm sorry. But I think that we find people that are already believing in advertising spend, they believe in lead generation, and they're proving it with their money, not by just saying, I believe in like lead generation or investing in my company. I find them, we scrape their information, and then I get their email. That's a lot more quality. Another option could be like,
And hang on. You're doing that manually with an army of VAs, is that right?
With an army of VAs, yeah. So
because 5 to 1,000, if you're scraping 5 to 1,000 emails, how many emails using this method? How many emails per day are you getting per VA, and how many VAs do you employ?
Don't know. We have about 10 VAs that work with us full time, not what we take like send to our clients. I honestly don't know how many a day they're scraping. I have some that scrape full time. I have some that send full time. I have some that respond full time. And then also, we also use Fiverr for like data scraping. So sometimes if it's like a big project, we'll, instead of taking up some of our VA's time, I just want to be as close to the money as possible. So I'll find a VA on Fiverr, a data scraping specialist, and I'll pay them 8 to 10 to 12 cents a verified email using this lead generation source. So even though I have access to thousands of VAs and they're all highly trained and they go through our training program, sometimes it's easier just to go, which if you're listening to this right now and you want to talk about quick action steps, maybe be like, oh, I don't want to reach out to Ravi for a VA yet, or I don't.
Yeah, Fiverr's pretty easy.
Fiverr, and just type in like lead generation and then sort by best selling, and then you'll find somebody there, and then just negotiate a price. 10 times out of 10, you can negotiate a price down to about 8 to 12 cents a verified email. And then if you find quality emails, then the next step is going to be really your sending source, so like sending method. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, like you can use a combination of software and manual sending for those. Cold calling and voicemail drops are also really, really great as well. And then email is obviously what we're talking about here. And there's a few different ways you can structure email. One of them is you can do like a business email sending, which is going to be like Woodpecker, Replyify, whatever those things are. So our company's name is Prospect Social, the one that's a real estate advertising agency. So I can do Ravi@prospectsocial.com and create an account with a software called Woodpecker, which allows me to send 500 emails per Ravi@prospectsocial.com email domain. Then I can do Ravi@prospectsocial.org and do another 500 there, and then do Ravi@prospectsocial.net, and then Ravi@prospectsocial.info. And then now I'm at 2,000 emails a day that I'm sending across all of this. And they're all that method right there is all pretty automated. You just have to have your VA load up the front end with the leads and then look at the positive responses on the back end. And you can actually forward all of the responses to one email that your VA monitors. And then they take that positive response, like I was telling Trent earlier, and gives it to you or your sales guy, and they pick up the phone and call them. And that's like that we call that really the B2b method. And that's like the way that a lot of people do it. And when I say stuff like this, I know immediately people are like, that seems like a lot of work. I got to spend, $10 per domain name, whatever it is. So look, I get that. But like, depends on what you're selling. So Trent was giving me some of the numbers, like the Amazon wholesalers. If you find like a whale, right, or easily a moderately sized one, it's going to pay for itself like 100 times.
You can make $100,000 a year off one account.
Yeah. So like, and you're going to sit here and talk to me back and forth about like, I don't want to spend $10 plus the software, whatever, which I'm just making an assumption here. This is just, we've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs and I always hear a little kickback on it. I'm like, you make one client and it pays for itself 100 times over again. You're going to make a lot more from this. So that's the B2B method. And the other method is like a personal sending method, which is something we teach in our program, which you really need VAs for, but that's going to be more along the lines of like creating personal emails like Ravi Abuvala 1@gmail.com, Ravi Abuvala 2@gmail.com, Ravi Abuvala 3@gmail.com, creating 30 to 50 of those, and then sending 10 to 15 to 30 to 50 to 250 emails and email address for each one of those. And you'll have
so why do you, hold on, let me interrupt you. Why do you, if you're going to go with the cheaper method, the supposed cheaper method, why do you need all these accounts again? Remind me.
For which method? The
Ravi 1@gmail, Ravi 2@gmail, Ravi 3@gmail.
Because you can only send like like a business domain email like Ravi@prospectsocial.com. That is expected to be sending mass emails a day. Like that's
Got it. Because I've never tried to send mass email from my @gmail, exactly. So they throttle you, is what you're saying.
Exactly, they throttle you, and you even have to warm up the personal one. So you can't start the first day sending 5,000 emails. Like the reason we send 5,000 emails is because I've had these emails for a year now. We started 1 to 3 to 5 a day, but it's a very labor intensive task. So that's what virtual assistants you're paying. Like we place them for $2.50 an hour. That you find them around that amount, then it's worth it for you. So the cost of like the new emails, the SIM cards, and the VA for a day of lead generation, where you do, let's say on the low end, 500 emails, could be like $20 for the day. Yeah, maybe even less than that.
So if you're not working on a shoestring budget, the Woodpecker approach is the better way to go.
It's probably the better way to go, just because the personal Gmail one is so good. It's so effective. I mean, we've built multiple seven-figure companies using that. The issue is it's really tricky. Your accounts are going to get banned. They're going to get blocked, so you have to create new ones. And then you have to have a VA that understands the full process. And if you don't understand the full process, it's hard to tell someone else how to understand the full process. Where almost everyone can just go to Woodpecker or Replyify and just use something like that and figure it out. But the
Now,
idea is just start and just, I guarantee you, if you use Replyify with one account, which is 250 emails a day, that's probably 249 more than you're doing a day right now. So
yeah.
like just start, you know what I mean?
So what about with the business approach to do with a send score and sender reputation and deliverability and so forth? I mean, if you had your domain name for maybe a year or 2 years or 3 years or maybe even longer, and suddenly now you're going to send these mass amount of emails, should you get a separate domain that is very, very, very similar? Like if it's abccompany.com, should you go and get abccompany.org and start sending the emails from the .org because you want to protect the sender reputation of the .com?
That's an awesome point, Trent. And yes, the answer is yes. So I started this. I didn't have like a course or a program or anything to buy into. This is all me figuring it out. And unfortunately, I did Ravi at prospectsocial.com. So even to this day, like my stuff still goes in people's spam, like onboarding information for our real estate clients, all that stuff still goes in the spam because I just abused the hell out of. I mean, I made a lot of money from it, but I abused the hell out of my domain. So we do not use our main one. We just use prospectsocial.org, prospectsocial.net, prospectsocial.info, and then if you typed in prospectsocial.info, whatever it is, it would actually redirect you to our main website or our lander for prospectsocial.com. Yeah, that's a great point for anyone listening to this right now. You really don't want to trash or tarnish yours. But I will tell you this, I had a very long conversation with G Suite, which is Google's like emails platform. And they told me that like, because I framed it in the sense of I had a rogue employee that was like, James at prospectsocial.com, and he was sending all these emails out. And I was like, if I created if it was under James at prospectsocial.com, does that hurt my domain name? Or is it just James that's hurt? And he told me it was just the James at prospectsocial.com that's hurt, but the Ravi. So you could create like 10 of the ones if you want to keep the .com there. But I don't know how true that is. So, take that with a grain of salt as well. And just to be totally safe with us, we just,
Yep. I agree. Okay. All right. So we've gone to Fiverr. We scraped a bunch of emails. We went to Woodpecker and set up an account so we can do bulk email. Replyify, how does that fit into this equation? What is this?
It's either Replyify or Woodpecker. It's like those are just different softwares that we use.
Okay. So pick your bulk sending software. And I'm assuming in either one of these, you can set up campaigns that are multiple emails long that will stop when they reply. Is that the idea?
That's 100% true. And like the LinkedIn software that we give in our program as well does the exact same thing. And you always want to use the software before, and Trent obviously knows this, always automate before delegate. So yeah, like we would like to have our software take care of it for us. That being said, like I always battle people on this conversation. Like, and I had a conversation with one of my clients yesterday on our call. Like, he wanted to nurture them a little longer before he went straight for the, hey, just let's talk and give me your phone number, whatever it is. And people have much more successful companies than me that do it that way. So like you have to choose what works best for you. I'm into what's called direct response marketing, where I want to know in that first email, are you interested in working with us or not? I don't like the whole back and forth or like, let me check emails. And then finally I tell you what I do or whatever it is. So we go straight for the throat on the first email, because for us, those are the people that are ready to buy right now. Like it increases our conversion and on the phone with these people. So
plus, if you're sending 5,000 emails, I mean, the quality is in the quantity. Because at the end of the day, what you're after is, I want 2 or 3 or 4 really interested people to book in my calendar every single day. And if you do, you'll drown in business and make buckets of money. Whether you have to send 2,000 emails or 4,000 emails to get it, if you're automating the bulk of it and you're delegating the bulk of it, who cares?
It doesn't matter. And the other thing is that will bring you back to the first thing I said, which I can't highlight enough, is the lead quality that you're getting these from, right? So it's like 5,000 emails a day, like you're going to get a lot of appointments, but if I'm sending it to just every Joe Schmo that has a pulse, then I'm going to be on the phone with every single person there. But if you can like find really hyper qualified people based on like traffic of their website or whatever it is, then you can be getting a lot more quality people to even to send the email to, so you can have them respond back to you to get on the phone with it and hopefully close. So we send, we're starting to send a lot less a day now, but have just super higher quality leads that we're starting out with. And we don't do necessarily the whole like drip thing, but I know people that do the drip of multiple emails that have great success with it. What we do is, if they don't respond back negatively and if they don't respond back positively, we keep a list of everything. And anybody that doesn't respond back negatively or positively over 90 days, we'll take out the negative and positive responses, and then we'll just redo that whole list again and just send that first message again. So we're just kind of sending them the same message 30, 60, 90 days later. We'll just catch them at a better time, right? I had someone said that they sent an email to somebody, and that person had just fired their marketing agency like the day before, and it was the third time they sent the same email to them over essentially 6 months. And it was literally that time that guy said, I just fired my marketing agency. Let's get on the phone. So for me, when I get drips, I get so pissed off. I hate, like, I get an email, especially they don't have an opt-out button or unsubscribe button, which is technically spam laws. It really pisses me off when I'm getting like an email every single day, and I'm just like, this is annoying. So I always try to think, if I'm that person, what am I trying to do, right? I try to put myself in my prospect's shoes.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing you have to understand, folks, is that, and Ravi alluded to it, when you're going after a brand, there's so much change happening in that company from month to month to month. It could change ownership, new VP, new director of marketing, new person in charge of e-commerce, maybe one of their third-party sellers that they were loving screwed up, or that company got sold. I mean, there's so much stuff that could be changing. That's why you need to keep in touch every 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, whatever it is you feel comfortable with. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be keeping in touch with these leads, because at some point in time, something's going to be changing on their end.
And that's even why Trent at my mastermind, he knows as well, we drop some little gold nuggets. And what I teach my students is like, there's a lot of other ways to stay in front of these people after you make the first touch point, right? You can retarget them on Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, display network, all of that stuff. You can add them to your friends list on Facebook, or you can follow them on Instagram, whatever it is. And so even though they didn't respond back right away, and even though they didn't say anything to you, you can follow them around 98% of the internet, both organically and paid. And then eventually, like I said, maybe you don't reach the email out, but maybe you send an email to someone, they respond back, no, now's not the right time, we already have an agency. But maybe you have your VA add them as a friend for you on Facebook, right? Because this is worth your time if you did the right quality leads to begin with, because these people are making a lot of money, so it's worth your time. So you have them add them as a friend on Facebook. They accept the friend request because 99% of people just want to be loved. And then over time, you're just slowly dripping out really high quality content about how you help, let's just say Amazon wholesalers, whatever it is. And then boom, one day you get an Amazon wholesaler testimonial video. This guy goes, I worked with Trent. He made me an extra $1 million this year, whatever it is. I highly recommend working with Trent. I get messages every single day about working with wholesalers. I never responded. I just decided to give Trent a shot. I'll never go back. He posts that on his Facebook. That is going to correspond with the timing where this guy's like, man, I hate the wholesaler I have right now. Let me just message Trent on Facebook. Yeah. So like, it's all of a funnel that's just feeding down into you or your sales guy at the other end of it. And if you do it correctly, you can really systemize it where you're pretty much removed from the whole process.
So we'll go back to that brand building thing in a minute. Don't let me forget that. What I want to unpack a little bit more is, so we're sending all these emails. There's a call to action in the emails. You're sending them to a landing page. You talked about retargeting and so forth. For the folks who aren't necessarily familiar with, well, how does all that work? Let's get into the weeds a bit. So you're sending them to a landing page. On that landing page is what? And what are you doing with the pixel on that landing page?
So on the landing page, whenever we send them, so I don't like to send, and I was literally having this conversation with Trent right before we started this. So the way we like to do lead generation is this. Every step with the lead, I'm trying to get a piece of information or something from them that brings them closer to the sale. And it's the bare minimum requirement. So the first email we send out, or the first message we send out, the only thing we're asking back is if they're interested, give us their phone number. That's it. Not the reason they're interested. I don't ask them to watch a 20-minute video sales letter, to join a webinar. I don't ask them to tell me what their favorite color is, or if they've never done lead generation before. I'm just like, give me your phone number if you just want to talk about how we can help you. They give me their phone number. That goes straight to our sales guy. Our VA sends that straight to our sales guy. They monitor the inbox. And then we, and by we, I mean my virtual assistant, will respond back to that lead. Hey, Trent, thanks so much for your response. You should be receiving a call from one of our guys in a minute, just so that we don't play the back and forth game, and just so we can see if there's even a good fit or not. If you don't mind, click the link below and book a time to speak with us in our online calendar. And then we put a link to a website. We use something called ClickFunnels, where we can put our online calendar called Calendly embedded on that ClickFunnels site. And so the cool part of that is that also on that ClickFunnels site is all of our tracking software for every single online advertising platform that's out there, 98% of the internet. So as soon as that person clicks on that link, maybe they don't even book a time, they're now mine forever. And I can now retarget them with testimonials and value and content all across the internet. And then if they book the time, then we can have them redirected to a page where they fill out an application. And we also use something called Jot Form for that. And this is all stuff that we give our students in our program, because I know this might be overwhelming, but they fill out the Jot Form application. And then once they fill out the Jot Form application, that redirects them to a thank you page. And on the thank you page is really my opportunity to sell them into our program even more. It's a video of me. Underneath it is a video of me on Fox News. Under that builds authority, and underneath that is a Q&A. And underneath that is like 120 testimonial videos of everybody that's had success with us. And by the time they get on the phone with us, they have gotten probably 15 or 20 emails with all testimonials in it. They've seen the thank you page warming them up. They've got a bunch of other content, and they've been retargeted by some of my content online as well. So, you know, a lot of you guys might get on the phone with a potential lead, and they go, why the hell should I work with you? Or who the hell even are you? I don't even remember responding back to this.
Yeah, you're pre-selling the hell out of them.
Yeah, we never get that, because most of the time they're like, I've never gotten more reminders and more emails from somebody when I booked a call with them than with you. And I'm like, I just want to make sure you show up and that you're educated. And our conversion rate is so much higher than the industry standard for that reason, I think.
How many different pixels are you using on the lander? You got Facebook, probably LinkedIn. What other pixels do you use?
Google Tag Manager and AdRoll. So 4 is what we use.
Okay.
And that puts us on 98% of the internet.
Okay. Type in notes here. All right. So we've got them to the lander. We've got them pixeled. We've got them pre-sold. Then they're going to do the call with you. And on the call, walk me through kind of the structure that you follow.
Yeah. So it depends on who's doing the call. If you're scaling, so you have multiple sales guys. So for us, and I'm going to speak to you guys like I speak to some of my agency clients, because like Trent said, I think it's a really similar business model. But we like the 2-call close in this, because time, as Trent knows, him and I are really similar. That's why we get along. Time is such a valuable asset. It's finite, right? I'd rather pay money than lose time. And so for me, I didn't want to we started getting, if you do this and follow everything I'm saying right now, you will get 5 to 8 appointments a day. Like you will, I promise you. But the issue at that point becomes quality over that quantity, right? 5 to 8 appointments a day. And let's say your pitch is an hour long of why they should work with you. You're doing 5 to 8 hours a day pitching, and maybe one person converts, or worst case scenario, nobody converts. Well, what we learn to do, especially with real estate agents, where a lot of them don't make a lot of money, is we do what's called a qualifying call first. So we get on the phone with them, and this is really what happens. Like when they respond back with their phone number, we pick up the phone and call them. Our only goal there is to just see, do we continue this relationship further? Is this worth both of our time? And so usually we say, hey, Trent, you responded back to my email. Thanks so much. Do you have just about 3.5 minutes? I want to ask you 5 questions just to even see if it makes sense for us to move forward or not. 8 times out of 10, they'll say yes. If they say no, you can decide what you want to do. They say yes. We usually ask literally 5 questions. Number 1, what made you in the first place even respond back to our email or our message or LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, right? So figure out the pain point and area that they're in right now. If you run a wholesaler business where you're trying to help Amazon sellers, whatever it is, then they could be like, I hate the person I work with right now, or we don't even have anybody right now, or whatever it is, or I don't even remember responding. Second thing we ask them is how much money they're doing in their company right now. Some reason people are like so afraid to ask these questions, but I want to know, and you can frame it differently. So for real estate agents, I don't say how much money are you making? I say, how many closings did you do last month?
Yeah.
And then I ask them, what's their average price per home sold? And I can just do the math in my head, even though I'm awful at math. I can use the math in my head to figure out how much money they're making. And then so that lets us know, are they even qualified, right? If you have an upfront cost or whatever it is, then, and it's, let's say our upfront cost is $2,500 and they said that they haven't sold a home in 6 months. Well, it's probably not worth us continuing this conversation. And I'll end the conversation right there. Hey, honestly, Trent, thanks for your time. I just don't think there's a right fit here. And then we figure out how much money they want to make. So once again, conversation yesterday with my one of my clients, and it's played out perfectly. The guy said he didn't want to do. He was making $15,000 a month, but he didn't want to make. He was like, I'm fine at $15,000 a month, and my client still took him into the pitch. And the guy was like, no, I don't need this, because the pain's not great enough, right? You have to identify a gap of where they are and where they want to be. And then we try to find out, have they ever done lead generation or paid advertising before? For you, it could be, have you ever worked with a seller before? Or how many products are you moving? Or even if there's a need, we just want to see how they invested in, they believe in paid advertising and working with an agency. And then the final 5th question is super simple. It's like, hey, honestly, Trent, based on everything that you told me here, you'd actually be a perfect fit for our company. And I have a few examples of people that started just where you are right now, and they're at where you want to be. if I show you a process that has guaranteed and proven results, would you be interested in possibly working with us? And you say, yeah, I mean, if it works for me. They say yes, and then I transition them into a pitch, which we give pitch decks or templates of a pitch deck in our program as well, where I do a video presentation of like us going through Google Slides. It depends on however you want to do it, but then I actually show them what it looks like to work with us. And it's like pretty much here's 90% testimonials, and then 10% is actually how we execute it. And that's how we close our deals.
Okay. Brilliant.
Works.
Let me see if I'm just looking at my questions here to see if there's anything else that we talked about in the pre-interview that we have not talked about. How long have we been? We have been 30 minutes. Wow. Time went by fast.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about making use of VAs. And initially, we both agree that, and we've told many people that that's where you should start because the cost of labor is very low. The commitment's very low. It's very, very lightweight. At what point in time did you make the decision to start hiring US-based, full-time employees, and why?
So all of our sales guys have always been US-based, but I'm assuming that's probably not what you talk about, what you're meaning here. So our sales guys have always been US, Canadian based for obvious reasons, right? You're working with people in the US, and they need to have that kind of certain skill set. But
well, actually, no, that's an important one, because in our space, as we scale our businesses, we ideally, and I've done this before, when I fired myself, I hired US-based salespeople. It's very difficult to do, as I think you and I talked about, that we've never ever had a whole lot of success hiring salespeople, and then you kind of crack the code. So talk about, because your guys are pure commission, so you're not taking on a salary. They eat what they kill. How are you finding folks like that who can get the job done, don't have substance dependencies, and like they're good quality professional salespeople? Hard to find.
Yeah, that's too funny based on the current situation, which I won't say on here. But yeah, so and that's a great point. So for us, on almost every one of our companies, the lead generation and the back-end fulfillment, we have our VAs do. So it's like we've systemized our business to the point that like everything pretty much in the business is being taken care of by VAs. At that point, there's more appointments on my calendar than I can literally physically take in the day. That's when we're like, all right, like let's find a salesperson. You have really two options. You have a few, obviously, but the two big options, there's three big options. Number one, and this is what I recommend going in order, honestly. Number one is leveraging your personal network. So like if you guys are listening to this right now, I always tell my students, you can go and ClickFunnels, you type in my name, Ravi Abuvala, and type in hiring, and you'll see a hiring post that I made, I don't know, 5-6 months ago for our company that we coach entrepreneurs in called Scaling with Systems. And you could literally copy and paste that and put it in ClickFunnels. And Trent, were you there in the mastermind when I broke down our hiring, how we did the whole like jot form and like? Okay.
No, I had to go to catch the plane.
Okay, I won't go into too much of it here. It's kind of a ninja way where we literally do like a kindergarten test to see if they can follow directions.
No, really, go into it.
So essentially, like we make a post on Facebook, my personal Facebook page, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. We can do some lead generation using email and LinkedIn, the same stuff we use to get agencies or wholesalers, Amazon sellers, whatever it is, and say, hey, we're looking for sales guys. So instead of scraping, Amazon sellers, we're scraping salespeople. And we use our email list, and we blast out so our personal network, and we blast out a post that says, hey, this is our company, Scaling Systems. We help entrepreneurs scale to 7 to 8 figures while removing themselves from the process. We get on average 8 to 15 appointments a day per salesperson. We give a 15% commission only based position. We're really flexible. You can work from anywhere. We believe in having a family relationship. So you have to be a team player, and we give bonuses, whatever you want to do on top of it. And then say, if you're interested in applying, click the link below. Now, it's really important for you to start with your personal network, because like my best employees, which ironically I'm saying because they're sitting right next to me at this table, but my best employees are people that know, like, and trust me already. They're already clients of my program, or they're already close friends of mine. So they just buy into me and my vision. So that's the first step. Just like you have to find quality leads to even talk to for your prospecting, you have to find quality leads to talk to for your hiring. So like I could have easily found a COO outside of my company. I have plenty of people asking to work with me, but I wanted somebody that already told me that they buy into my vision by not telling me they buy into my vision, but by paying me and showing me that they buy into the vision. And that's exactly where I found my COO, who I know Trent met as well. And he threw the whole mastermind, and he's an awesome guy. And so we always look for our personal network first, because they already know, like, and trust you. They buy into your vision and dream, and there's a lot less training involved. And then I send them that post out there. And then if you're interested, apply here. They click there, and in the top of the thing says, hey, excited for you to work with us. Underneath it, it says, for the age question, put in the number 42. So then we go name, age, past experience. Have you sold high ticket offers before? Have you ever worked in real estate? Whatever it is. And they click submit. I honestly could care less about those questions. The only thing that I have Zapier, my software, looking out for is, did that person put in 42 as their age, or did they actually put their age in there? And if they put in 42 as their age, they get a Zap, which is an automation. That's another email that goes to them and says, hey, Trent, thanks for submitting your jot form. Congratulations, you passed the first test. Now send a 2-minute video of why you should work for our company to the email ravi@scalingwithsystems.com and put the subject line, I want to work with Ravi. And then I have another Zap that looks for the subject line, I want to work with Ravi, and then sends them another email that says, congratulations, Trent, you made it to the final interview. Click the link here to book a time in our calendar. And if they put, I want to work for Ravi, or Ravi, please hire me, whatever it is, we don't send them that last email. And so the idea is, how well can they follow instructions from A to Z? And by the time they get to our calendar, like the example I use in the mastermind, we had about 150 applicants on JotForm when I posted all across all of my channels for a sales guy. I had 4 interviews when they came all the way down to the bottom of it. And then all I did was, right before the interview, I pulled up the JotForm and I pulled up their video, and I was like, let me just see what their answers were before they got on the call with us.
I love that.
It's so good. And it works for every position. And we do it for VAs as well. And it's like, it's just how, because if they can't follow instructions right then and there, they're not going to follow instructions. Dude,
I posted a job on Indeed. I never ended up hiring anybody. It's going to find it was like $100,000 salary, and nobody followed the frickin' instructions. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I love it. I love it.
So we use our personal network first to do it, because it's free and they already know, like, and trust you. Second option we'd go through is like a placement company. So like, we place virtual assistants. They're fully trained. They're good to go. And they come work in your company. The first day they're sending 3,000 to 5,000 messages a day. They already are trained in all of this stuff. And then same thing with salespeople. So we work with a guy. He works with some of the largest high ticket offers in the nation. I found him. I paid him up front for our sales guys. And now I think you met Matt while you were at the event too. I have my sales guys I love. They crush it for us. And I got them through a sales placement company. Once again, it goes back to, if you have money, you want the cheap way or for us. And like I talked to Trent, just like people pay us for a VA because I don't have to go through the bullshit of training one. I was like, I don't want to have to go through this whole thing with a salesperson. Give me a fully trained one that's good, that proven track record, whatever it is. And that's the second way we look for salespeople or hiring. And the third way is what you just said, Indeed, Monster.com, whatever it is. But that's always like literally last resort, because they have no idea who you are. If they're unemployed right now, they're probably not like doing a great job, whatever their last job is. And also you have to pay for it. And for me, it's just not, I actually have never hired anybody from any of the sites.
For sales.
Yeah. You don't need, and in my opinion, there's more salespeople than there are companies that need salespeople. But the trick of this is, my friends, is that the reason why we hire top producing salespeople that are okay on commission based is because we have the lead generation side down. If I look for a sales guy that is a top producer and he comes to my company and I'm giving him 1 appointment a month, he's going to leave very quickly.
Yep.
But all my sales guy want to marry me because I have my business so systemized that all they do is wake up and get on the call with people that have already gotten like 15 touch points. They're already super warmed up. They've watched the VSL and they're pretty much ready to buy as long as they handle any of their objections. So we're able to take in top producers because they have 8 to 16 appointments a day on their calendar. And they're just like, I just get to sell every single day. I mean, sometimes I tell them, I'm like, I wish I was you sometimes. I say, I'm like, you have the easy job, right? You're just going to close a deal and then you're on to the next call.
Yeah. And the thing that I think people misunderstand about sales is there's really 2 parts to sales. There's lead generation and then there's presentation and close. You're hiring presentation and close because people suck at lead generation. Whenever I tried to hire salespeople in the past, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, even though I was a good lead generator, very, 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 very few people are. And so if you're hiring a salesperson expecting them to generate their own leads, good luck to you. Because
and we incentivize them. So it's like, hey, 15% commission if you close a deal. But if you bring your own deal in A to Z, they didn't come through us, you can get 25% of a commission.
Yeah.
So if they want to work, so we'll incentivize them. But yeah, no, it's asinine, in my opinion, to expect a sale, because it's actually two parts of the brain as well. Lead generation is one part. And if they're really good at closing, like a closer is literally should be on the phone to close. They should not be generating and prospecting, especially when it's super mundane tasks like emailing and like, why not hire a VA for that and save your salesperson's energy for literally getting on that, because they're getting told no all day long. You don't need to give them another channel to get told no to. So for us, I'm like, I just want them to be on the call and have it be with appointments, and I can easily for $2.50 an hour have a VA do the rest.
Yeah. In my very first career as a financial advisor, and in the latter part of that career, I joined this large team run by this really, really smart dude who had marketing and lead generation dialed. And I was literally that guy. I was the pure commissioned closer. And I would sit down, and this was a serious sale. I mean, these are people who are coming in with their life savings, talking about retirement planning. And it got so systematized where people would sit at my desk. So the appointment team, thanks to all the lead generation, the appointment team would fill my calendar. I would have typically 3 to 5 presentations a day. My presentations, because I'd done them so many times, were so perfect that within 45 minutes, I knew I would get up and say, I would say at the end, my close was, does this approach make sense to you? Yes. Wonderful. Sit right there. I will be right back. I'd leave the room. I'd go get the people on the team that filled out account applications. They would leave my office. Next one would come in. It was a freaking machine.
And how happy were you? I mean, how happy were you during that?
Oh, dude, in today's dollars, so I was 25. I was your age. I was 25 years old. And in today's dollars, I was making $400,000 a year doing that.
Yeah.
At 25.
Not bad.
This is all before the internet made it, where guys could make way more than that. You wanted to make big money 20 years ago, you needed to be in sales.
And the cool thing about that is like, and people think, oh, I have shitty experience with salespeople. But in reality, if you know anything about like personal development, you need to take full responsibility. In reality, you're probably attracting shitty salespeople because you have a shitty business, right?
Yeah.
Like, because you're trying to have your salespeople do everything. But we get high quality salespeople because, just like Trent said, like, the dream person of a salesperson is just to get on every call and just pitch every single person all the close, right? Like that's it. And if you have them do all this other stuff, you get them, they're in funks, they get unmotivated, they get upset, and that affects their calls. And so, we look for like every single person in our company has a single task or job, just like Henry Ford's assembly line. And they do that. And if everyone executes it really well, and then you have like the next level up would be like a COO who can monitor all that. And then above the COO is like you. So you're pretty much, the COO is you on the day-to-day task, which allows me to do podcasts, YouTube, invest my time in ads, learning stuff, hosting masterminds, whatever it is.
All right. So before we wrap up, Ravi, do you have, I think you have a special offer, a freebie or something for my audience.
We've used a few different like softwares for SOPs, and like they've worked, they've been good. Like we've had okay experiences with them, but Trent and I met, him and I hit it off like two girls, and he actually ended up flying down to see me in San Diego. And then he came to my mastermind, and then I started learning about Flowster, his program. And now we're working on kind of combining both of our stuff together, which I'm super excited about. And then I was playing around with the actual Flowster app, his software company, where you can create SOPs and put them on the marketplace. And so we are now putting all of our SOPs inside of Flowster, which I'm super excited about to give my students as well. And then I was like, why not give you guys, whoever's listening to this right now, wherever you're listening, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, podcast, whatever it is, a little gift for listening all the way to the end. So we're going to take probably 3 to 5 of our highest lead generating SOPs. So the ones that have literally made us millions of dollars, including the messaging, everything inside of it. And we're going to put it on the Flowster marketplace. And I'm super excited to give it to you guys. And all you guys have to do in order to get it, because you have to have a discount code, because it's going to be at probably $2,000 on the marketplace. But if you want to get it for totally free, which we're going to offer you because Trent was kind enough to have us on here, you go to workwithravi, all one word, .com/bright ideas, all one word as well. So WORKWITHRAVI.com/bright ideas, which is the obviously what you're listening to as well. And I'm sure Trent will drop that link in here as well. And then
I
you
will.
can just go in there and you will get, I'm telling you, it's literally made us millions. I showed Trent what they were as well. It's literally made us millions of dollars. And you guys can take that and either do it yourself or maybe hire a virtual assistant to execute those SOPs for you.
Awesome. Ravi, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Trent, always. Thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it.